Welcome back to another episode of Rooted in Results, where we don't just talk about farming, we dig deeper into what's working, what's next, and how you can stay ahead. Today's episode is all about seeing your acres, not just as fields, but as full potential. Whether you're a longtime grower with Lammers Ag or just kicking the tires on a new partnership, this conversation is for you. We're joined by Hailey Hughes, agricultural research scientist and boots in the field expert, who's breaking down real data, real results, and the tools that can help us farm forward, not just react to the past. From stand counts and scouting wins to soil health strategies and no contract flexibility, we're giving you the full picture of how Lammers Ag is helping growers take control of their success. So grab a coffee, hop in your truck, and let's get rooted in results. So Hailey, we're channeling success and farming forward, right? I love that.
Yes. I wanted something that captured our seed also with what we're doing here. So I think that was a fitting title.
That's a great title. So what have we seen, Hailey, for stand counts? I know we've been out, we talk a lot about how many fields we're on. We talk about how many observations. What is it really all coming down to when you looked at the data?
Yeah, so this is stand counts. This is not what we have been doing the last probably month or so. But as I was compiling the data, I thought it'd be nice to have some of these numbers. So we have about 1,166 observations, and that, an observation, typically we'd make like 3 to 6 per field. It kind of just depended on the amount of acres. We were in 231 acre fields total. And then we covered 22,576.4 acres total within that 231 fields. And those observations are obviously within that amount of acres. So right. I think that we covered a lot. We covered a lot of ground for a lot of growers. Some were our growers, some were not. We had people call us with problems and we were able to help. And so it's just really important. These early checks are so important to, because we are the eyes and the ears for some of these farmers, especially those that are, bigger, if they're away on vacation or things like that. We're able to keep an eye on things and go past the field driveway and kind of really see what's going on.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is why I guess we're successful here at Lammers Ag, is because it's the data and it's getting out in those fields. And I mean, we stress it all the time, but it's nice to see the numbers come together to actually see, it's a lot of acres that we, obviously not every acre, but the acres of fields, that we walked. But I know myself, just on one farm, I think I was over 20 observations. It was 100 acre or 110 acre field. I was over 20 just looking at stand count. So I mean, it is fun to see the numbers, when you compile them all together.
Yeah, and I think that the importance of this is there's a field that I was in a different field a couple weeks ago looking at it was one of our plot fields, and I thought, well, I'm going to stop by a field that's just south of it, same grower, that we had found corn rootworm when we did floats. And I thought, well, just the northern half of the field was soybeans last year. The southern half was corn. And the northern half it had one of our hybrids on it and a competitor hybrid on it. And both of them didn't have that, the corn rootworm, like the smart stacks or whatever for corn rootworms. So I thought, well, let me just double check. And I went double check. This is typically a grower that does not apply insecticide unless necessary in major northern corn rootworm problem. Like obviously probably an extended diapause population, because it was in that northern half of the field, plus they were northern, so good indicator of that. And so I think that I was able to call the grower and say, hey, like, this is what's going on. You have a lot of silk clippings. I mean, it was bad. And so right. They were able to then make that decision because they were going to start spraying anyways the next within the next couple of days. And so I think that that just shows that, you know, we were in the middle of a field literally, and I don't know that they would have gone all the way out there. But just knowing, having all the data and knowing all these things, we're able to help our growers in ways, or think outside the box, or make sure that we do recheck certain fields if we think there could be potential for concern. So.
Right. No, I agree. So what else have you seen on stand counts?
I'll start with the chart. Along the bottom, we're looking at the hybrid numbers. Hopefully I don't have any typos in there or anything like that. But what I did was, across all of our growers' data that I was able to compile, as far as stand count numbers go, I took the stand counts per hybrid, and I took the planting rate data, information as to what their planting rate was, and I divided the like the stand count divided by the planting rate, and then multiplied that by 100, so I got a percentage, and then I averaged the percentages for that specific hybrid together, and that's how I got these numbers. So it's a pretty comprehensive view. Basically, I just want to point out that, like, within the channel brand, we're just really consistent. There's only one that is just above 80, and we only have 12 for it, so 80%.
And that's an older hybrid as well.
That's an older one,
I mean,
yeah.
but still, to be above 80, I count roughly 28 hybrids. I don't know if that's how many you had, but just going along the bottom, 28 different hybrids on this chart.
Yes, and that's not including the unknown ones that, you know, we don't have that planting data for, but basically almost everything is essentially above that 90% success rate or above. We're seeing most of that around the 95-ish percent rate as far as emergent success. You know, that's pretty good, especially considering we had some crusting issues with the early planted fields and things like that. Yeah, and then at the very go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I'm sorry. The one that really stands out to me again is, because I had the most acres of it out, is 209.25, which, if you can put that blue dot on that, that I think there's 146 units or looks, and that was well over 90%. So it's a great fit for our area. 109-day Smart Stacks Pro. Again, really love that product, because in my mind, it will perform with how you manage as well as the soil type. So no matter what, if it's light ground or the best ground, it's going to show up for you. So that consistency. But look at the line. I mean, if you had a line that went across there, 28 hybrids to be able to have that. Now, granted, there's some of these in here, guys are going to go, okay, well, there's one or four or six, you know, observations. But again, look at the total observations and 28 different hybrids. The consistency is just amazing to me. That's why I love channel. So I had to throw that in there, because I just love it. Consistent.
And I think that that's where we're really like seeing things, is just like you said, the consistency. And I think that that's just really important as a brand. And it's cool that we're able to, like, we know these numbers, our channels provided some of these percentages, but we're able to then go and be like, okay, is this actually what we're seeing in our area? And thus far, this is what we've seen. So I think that that's really, you know, cool and good. And unless there's another hybrid you want to highlight, Kristy, I can move on if you'd like.
No, I mean, that's fine. Again, it's just, I love it because, you know, anywhere we're at, no matter what ground, we show up. So it's just, again, reassuring our growers, and also potential growers that are wondering about channel or have not planted channel, or it's been a while since they've planted channel, that, you know, it's ease of mind.
Yeah. And
it's ease of mind.
This is over 30 growers, their data. It's over, let's see, Blackhawk, Bremer, Grundy, Butler, Franklin, Chickasaw maybe too. We're over like 6 or 7 counties. I'm probably missing at least one county. So maybe even a little bit of Hardin. So that's quite a few counties, you know, ranging. And then also just so many different management strategies. And this is including fields that were not great and fields that were good. We didn't cherry pick the data. And so I used everything. And I think that
Right.
If the consistency is showing up across that span, it's really a good thing. So,
and the most important thing that growers love to see is it's local data.
Yeah.
It's local data. This isn't data that's all over the state of Iowa. This is like Hailey's saying, right around our building and where our growers are, farming. So local data that means something to us here in these counties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now
I love it.
I'm gonna go, and I just put a little thing on here for our beans. And this is just one field, one grower. So keep that in mind. And our beans definitely started out to a slow, kind of had a slow start. Things are looking really pretty good now. But this was us on the same field versus a competitor. And it's the same formula essentially is how I calculated this out. So we're right at about that 90%. The competitor is a little bit less. So I just think that this again shows our consistency, and yeah, it's just some early data that we have and we're able to compile.
Right. So that's a 2-4 endless bean for those of you that aren't familiar with our channel numbers. So another soybean story really quick that I wanted to share is a new grower that came to us when it went out and checked his field, because it was only on one field, 60 units. Didn't really like what I saw, and I think I had mentioned this maybe in a previous podcast, but I want to reiterate that we don't just cherry pick like what Hailey's saying. It's the good, bad, ugly, sometimes great, sometimes not great. But I really didn't like what I was seeing, because I knew there was a lower emergence, or there was a lower stand on that field. So I called the operator, texted the operator, and asked if I could go to another field. And there was another field 2 miles down the road, same plant date. So I knew it wasn't our product, just to kind of double check, is it something with our hybrids? Is it something with channel? What's happening here? And ended up finding the same results in that field as well, where the population was lower, was due to some crusting issues. I think was due to just the planting date and what happened around that. But we're checking competitive, we're checking ours, we're making sure that we're showing up every year.
Yeah.
And that's vital. I mean, if it wouldn't have been that way and they would have shown up and channel wouldn't have, I'd have been wondering what is happening and gotten a lot of people involved. So, it's just something that Hailey's passionate about, as well as myself, on if we're not, then why? Or, what's happening out there that we need to address, if anything, and what do we need to do next? So it's that passion for the info, right? The data, like I always say.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Kristy, since you've been in this, industry for longer than me, how have you built the trust with our growers? With the scouting data and just even with sales and everything.
Right. And I think that's kind of back with what I just said. I mean, it's our transparency. So, we are out in the fields. It's just something that I'm very passionate about doing. Everybody that works here is passionate about having the data and making sure that we're performing. I mean, the first, these stand count slides, and maybe go back to that, Hailey, if you can, on that slide. If our stand isn't there, I mean, obviously this is ABCs of farming and ROI, but if you have no stand, you have no plant, you have no yield, right? So we need to make sure that the stand is there. Now, is it a seed issue? If it isn't, we'll find out. Is it something on equipment? We'll find out. Is it a planting date issue where there was compaction, or is it a chemical issue where they had anhydrous burn? Those are all different factors, like everybody knows, that plays into everything else when it comes to emergence. But I think it's just so crucial to know, are our hybrids performing like they should? Are they performing on a certain soil versus not, or can it go anywhere? So when all of that data is put together, especially like this slide, Hailey, is just exactly how I love to feel, because again, I always say channel is not 1 or 2 or 3 hybrids. It's, look at, there's 28 on here, and these are traded. These are Smart Stacks Pro. These are VT4, which is our RNI1 2 mode. These are our stacks, and these are VT2. So all of our different traits, 28 numbers, and you still have such consistent emergence. So it's just great to see that with all the things that happen every year with weather, because we can't control the weather. We saw it this year again, that we're showing up when we need to show up. And again, if we don't show up, it's not something I'm going to advise to our growers to plant. So, I mean, it's just, it makes it so much better for me when I sit down with growers, you know, to plan for the next year.
Yeah. I think that's great.
Yeah. And I mean, so I mean, again, and I'd stress this again, why do they value all that data? Because it's local.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I said this to you too, and I mean, I don't want to keep harping on it, but it's local data, which, you know, we also do our own plot books. And I think that's amazing because it's local data. What does that entail? Yes, there are some channel yield data checks in there from plots, but there are our plots. We've got 9 plots this year. We've got what, 6 or 7 different trials, Hailey, at least, that you're looking at. We're going to have all of our yield, and we put those in there. If we do our own yield checks, that's noted on the book. But it's local data. And I know our growers love that. If that's something that, you know, you're new to us, or really just kind of want to find out what's going on, let us know, and we'll send you a data book. We'll send you a yield book that we put together for this year. So, you know, we've got great things happening here, Hailey. And I just, you know, you guys have all been just working so hard to be consistent with what we're doing, you know, like our rootworms and our rootworm digs and soaks. And, you know, now we're looking at some diseases and what do we need to do as we go into, you know, fungicides being applied. And, you know, next we'll go out and look at what the stages are before we get into the fields, which won't be very long from now. But that kind of leads me into something that, again, at Lammers Ag, I have partnered with Pattern Ag in the past. Pattern Ag was bought out by Earth Optics. Earth Optics is amazing. It is a forward thinking, forward sampling company that I am 100% in agreement will help our customers and will help any growers that really want to look at their soil and what's going on. So I know I'm happy that Hailey, we went to a training in Rochester last Tuesday. We're happy to be partners with them. Hailey is going to head up Earth Optics for us at Lammers Ag. So not that you can't call me, you sure can, but Hailey will be the one that will take over this department for us moving forward, because it fits right into her wheelhouse and what she loves to do. So Hailey, you can just, you know, give us the highlights. We're going to have some more slides. August is going to be about Earth Optics on our podcast. You'll see a lot about it in social media and clips that we want you to just understand it. But believe me when I'm telling you, they are the most forward-thinking company that I've seen. I know it because I'm going to say one little trial, and then Hailey's going to take this over. But I had a guy that had a lot of fusarium. Okay, everybody's like, well, yeah, we all got fusarium. I understand that. The thing about it is, how much do we know yield-wise fusarium could possibly take from us? I've seen data anywhere from 10 to 30 bushel an acre, depending on how bad it is. So let me just give you a quick scenario of what's happened. 2 years ago, I had a customer that we ended at the end of the year, or at the end of planting season, was able to put in-furrow or liquid fungicide on, and ended up getting 7 bushel boost on a 20-acre trial. So this year I had him do it, that same application, do that with more fields. So we're going to be able to see what that looks like versus non-treated in that same field on more fields. I would have never had that guidance if it wasn't for Pattern Ag at the time, or Earth Optics. And that's actually going to lead into some other things that are going to happen down the line here at Lammers Ag that are exciting. But Hailey, I know Hailey's excited about Earth Optics. I know that August is a month that we need to get acres booked. And the reason why we need to get acres booked, there's nothing that is in blood or in contract, I guess, until you really decide it. But if we can get your field on and then at least let Earth Optics know kind of the volume of what we're looking at, because they do the sampling for us. We don't do it. Earth Optics does it. So I love that too, because you know it's done right and it's done to their specs. But we definitely want to focus on it moving forward. And I know she's going to touch on this, but you said it before with extend diapause, and that was the other thing that I found. And rootworm pressure were the other things that I found over the last 2 or 3 years with this company. So I'm excited for Hailey.
Yeah, so soil microbial things and soil legacy is like totally my background and what gets me excited, because it's something that I think we know about, but how do we apply that knowledge that we are getting from our soil tests? And I think that Earth Optics offers a comprehensive look at your field, nutrients, biology. So like Kristy said, the pathogens and pests that we're able to detect their larvae and things like that through the sensors that Earth Optics has. So when they go to sample a field, they'll drive over it with their UTV. It has this, it's called the Owl, and it's a sensor on the front, and there's other companies that do this, but they have 4 frequencies that they run off of. And so it gives kind of like a higher definition look, I guess. So they do that. And then they also take soil samples, and then they compile that all together. It gets put into their system or the cloud. And then we're able to look at these maps and kind of determine, oh, okay, you need to apply so much nitrogen in this area of the field, but this area of the field is fine. And the farmer would be like, oh, well, that explains why this area is, always higher yielding or something like that, because this area just naturally has a nicer ground or whatever. And also I think that this is going to be really, really important with placing hybrids. So what they have now, which a couple of years ago, when some of our growers' fields were sampled, when they were pattern egg, they didn't have this tool in their system, and now they have it. We're able to put in any of our hybrids or products such as Pivot Bio and things like that, and we're able to place them more strategically, which in the end will definitely help. Now, this will help with not only, cost savings. You might have to apply in places that you didn't think you had to apply, or you might have to apply more. However, as a whole, hopefully you'll see higher yields because we're placing things more strategically, and some cost savings in other areas. So
yeah, and they also have they call it a true till. I mean, again, there'll be a lot more coming. We're going to do an interview with Cam, who's the head of Earth Optics, basically the whole platform research and agronomist for them, as well as, programs. But he made a really good point on if compaction has ever been a concern for you, that they can measure down to, I can't remember how many, I think it's 8 inches or so. Let me look here a second.
18, I think. 18.
Yes, that's right. 18 inches. And then, I think I was telling you this before, but at like isn't it a 3?
I think 300 or 360.
Or 300. That's right. 300. So after 300, the root is not able to grow. So some of the new stuff I know that Earth Optics has this year, which I'm so excited for, because after going to that meeting, when I went out to San Francisco 2 years ago, Hailey Baker and we also said we wanted to have them really focus on dealers being able to use this as a tool to help our growers. So I'm excited to have you talk to them about the total farm.
Yes. So Total Farm is something new for Earth Optics. And so it's the 360 Pro, which is the True Nutrient and the True Bio. They also have a True Till, and we can get into that a little bit more with Cam probably next week. Which tells you compaction, but the nutrient will help with nutrient management, and bio will help with pest and pathogen control, and also nutrient management, because we know that we have a lot of soil microbes that assist in the nitrogen cycle and the carbon cycle and things like that. So the 360 Pro Total Farm program, what we would do is we'd run an analysis on 25% of your farm acres each year. And then the remaining acres will be analyzed using yield data and satellite imagery. And then the next year, that 25 will go to the, what's in the lineup, essentially, as far as fields go. And so within a 4-year span, your farm will have quite a lot of information, and we can just keep doing the rotation, because nutrients they recommend gets done about once every 4 years. Bio, they recommend gets done much more frequently than that, just because that changes pretty quickly as far as especially with management strategies and stuff like that. And so regardless, you'll get annual fertility scripts and recommendations within this package. And there's not a contract, which is cool, because with a lot of these things, especially with it being over a 4-year period plus, 4-year plus, if you would stay in the program, for them to not have a contract, I think is huge, because if, it allows you room to grow or dial back or whatever the case may be. And this is the most cost-effective program that they have, which is $4 an acre. If we just did, I think 360 Pro is $10 or $12 an acre, and then or maybe up to 16. I think it's $10 to $12 an acre if we just went and just did the sampling. But with the Total Farm, you're able to get, I think, a bigger bang for your buck. And it's something that then you don't have to think about, signing up for. We put your fields in and we go. And I think that if we start with some of the lower yielding fields or your problem fields that you're always like, oh, I have issues here, but I don't know quite what it is, I think that this would be a good strategy.
Right. And I also, when I was talking with Cam, just to catch up, since I know him, from past, like I said, one thing that I'm going to use off of this for our current growers, it is a farm plan for them. So it will dive into if that farm is at risk on the biofertility, if it's at risk on the nutrients, it's going to help us to spit out a rec. It's going to allow us to put in whatever you're using, doesn't matter brand wise, but chemically or microbial, hybrid, if it needs a trait or not, depending on rootworm or what it's detecting there. And so it's going to be very valuable for us to do a total farm plan, in essence, for a grower, really sooner probably than they have by field, which, again, is something that I've always talked about with pattern ag, is every field's different. With Earth Optics now, they've taken it to the next level to be able to add this farm plan. And that's all, Cam's going to talk about that here in our next episode. So excited to just show you some of the things that we're going to be doing to help our growers really become efficient on how they apply, if it's needed. I mean, I couldn't believe, and I know we didn't talk a lot about in Camwell about the True Till, Hailey, but even on the True Till, if it's a field where, we're thinking that there's some compaction issues, it really zeroes down to what parts of the field do you need to till and what you don't, to be able to, get that back to where it needs to be uniformly in that field. So I think it's just, again, we talk about future farming, forward thinking. That's always been kind of things that we do here. We started way back when. I think about field view, climate field view, was the platform that I started with when I was, when I started here selling channel. And now look at how far we've came already in just this little bit. So, I've been here 9 years now, and it's like, now we're detailing down to half-acre grids to apply, which, people go, oh my God, that's how precise it is. And how much we're over applying, and how much I know a lot of guys variable rate now, but even that is sometimes too much in a 2.5-acre grid. So, it allows us to go down, even if the person that is doing the application for you can't do in half an acre, we can get it down to an acre, which is still a lot more precise than 2.5, to save money. And not necessarily, you're always going to have to invest in your nutrients every year. That's a cost. Every year is kind of like that pie chart I think about that we talk about a lot, Hailey. But applying those dollars in the right places to maximize your ROI.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
the goal.
And I think that this also, this partnership sets us apart. It pushes us forward as to, customer first, grower first, getting the data and actually finding, getting the results from the data. But it sets us apart from just being like a seed dealer. We're not just a channel dealer. We're also Lammers Ag, which, is very passionate about like seed and sustainability, and how can we help our growers get the most out of their growing seasons. And, really, yeah, like you said, it comes down to the ROI, and we just really want to make sure that we're able to help them unlock some technologies to help them grow that ROI as much as we can. So.
Yeah, no, I love it. And that kind of leads me into my last thing where it says, I just had a question I always think about in my mind. If I'm a new grower, what's one thing I can do today to farm forward? Okay, obviously we talked about earth optics. How does working with Lammers Ag differ from a traditional dealer? Okay, we're talking about all the things that we're doing. We're out on the ground, boots on the ground, earth optics, pivot, bio, treating. We do a lot of different treatments. We're just trying to constantly help. I tell the gals all the time, my whole goal is to help our farmers and help growers that aren't with us yet become the most profitable and successful that they can be. So I just need to say one thing, just a quick story, and I'm gonna give Hailey some kudos on this. But when I was gone on vacation, there was a operator that needed help, and not a customer of ours, which is completely fine. That's what we do here. Long story short, reached out to one of our growers. The grower said I was gone to contact Hailey. Hailey went out there, and I'm gonna let you tell a story, but long story short, I got a text message from Canada from that operator saying how much he appreciated that we were out on the field, even though there was no channel out there. And I'm here to tell everyone that is listening to this podcast, that's Lammers Ag.
Yeah.
We want to sell you channel, but we want to help in whatever we can do to help you. So Hailey, tell a little bit more about that whole scenario, because I know that was just, I was a proud moment for me. So proud.
Yeah. And so basically I got a call from a grower that I am familiar with and things like that, but they're not our grower. And he was just really concerned about one of their fields. There had been an accidental Roundup incident with some non-GMO corn. And they were just trying to get a bunch of people's opinions on what they should do, yada, yada, yada. And so I went out there and I looked with him, and it was kind of like everyone was saying either you replant now or just see what happens. But knowing what we know about Roundup and how it can cause issues with the kernel and just stunted growth and things like that, the grower did ultimately decide to replant late, but that's okay. And so I have since been back a few times to follow up just to see how growth is, and follow up and just make sure that things are still going okay. And I think that we really established a good, strong relationship with that grower, because we were able to be out there and get to the problem right away. You know, we may not have all the answers, but we can definitely compile information. I did a lot of back-end research that I was able to provide him with in order for him to make that decision. You know, I'm never going to say yes or no, you should or should not do that. Even our, you know, trusted agronomists and many seed dealership or seed companies probably isn't going to say yes or no, and they can give you all the information, but ultimately the grower has to make that decision. And so, yeah, I've been following up throughout the season, and I'll continue to do that just to ensure that they know we're there for them, you know? So.
Right. That's what we are. We're here for you. So, I mean, if you're, you know, I always say, hey, I understand commitment. I understand loyalty. I respect loyalty. But if you're interested at all in what we're doing, just, you know, reach out to us. You know, we do a lot of stuff on social media, obviously Snapchat, we're on Lammers Ag 1. I mean, we're Twitter, we're Facebook, website's got different things on it, but you know, in person's obviously a lot different than what we're doing out there in social media as far as being able to just talk to you guys, but we're here to help you. And that's that's our platform here. We're here to help you. And we're trying to make it easier for you guys to make decisions on things that sometimes I think, you know, things that sometimes we overlook just because it's been around forever. You know, it could be a disease. It could be something as little as, you know, something on your equipment, which I'm constantly trying to learn. So learning is growing. That's all I keep saying all the time. You're not learning, you're dying. I say that all the time. I still say it to me every day. So is there anything else, Hailey, for as far as I know, we'll have a lot, you guys, in August on Earth Optics. I mean, there'll be a lot of stuff out there that you know, probably go, oh my gosh, if I hear any more, but very excited about what this is going to do again to open the potential of your fields, So I think the biggest thing is if you've got a field that you're like, this really, I think should be at this much yield and I'm just not there and I don't know why, let us get into one of your fields and just see what we find out together. See if we can help you.
Yeah. I think it'll be good because sometimes you don't have to throw the kitchen sink at it. It's more about strategy as opposed to just throwing all your dollars in one area and you may not see the return like you'd hope after you've invested the kitchen sink. So just keep that in mind. And like Kristy said, let us work on your worst fields or your most concerned fields first. And we'd be happy.
I always hate that word worst or least, but you know, everybody has those problem fields that you kind of scratch your head about. I always say that too, your worst fields. And it's not, you know, nobody really has bad fields. They all just are different. So I have to kind of change my mindset on that too. But you know, if you've got a challenging field, that's how we want to say it. If you have a challenging field, right, Hailey? We want to, honestly, because Hailey is about like me or worse, where it's like, we want to figure this out. Whether or not you buy channel seed. I mean, yes, I love channel seed. Believe me, when I say to you, I believe in it. And I think always we'll go to the bank. Channel will take it to the bank every year, no matter what. But if you don't want to be with channel, we still want to help you. We still want to be a partner in your field.
Yes.
So Hailey will run and lead this area of our company here at Lammers Ag. She is going to be the lead for Earth Optics. And that is also, I think, a great thing because I know some guys will go, well, then I don't have to deal with Kristy on channel. You know, I'm laughing about that because, you know, I mean, that way there'll be a separation there. If you don't want to deal with channel, that's fine. If you don't want to plant channel, I'm not a pressure salesperson. I am not a pressure salesperson. All of my sales, thankfully, have been customer, customers telling customers, and they're bringing them in. So I'm thankful for that because it means we're doing something right here. And the people that like what we're doing and are interested are coming in and they love it. So
absolutely.
I think that's a great way to say to you guys, hey, start with Hailey. Certainly you can always call me. I'm not saying that I would never talk to you about Earth Optics, but I just think it's her passion, and I'm so excited to have that. So Hailey, thank you again. I'm sure we'll be back again.
Yes.
We always have too much to say, but everybody just really, stay cool out there. It's July, what is it? 28th today, right?
Yeah.
July 28th today. So yeah, almost 100 degrees heat index. And I mean, the crops look good right now. Still continue to get a lot of rain here in Iowa. North central Iowa is where we sit. For those of you that don't know where Lammers Ag is at, we're in Parkersburg, Iowa, and our crops look really good. I'm excited for the fall. I think, God willing, everything else will go great, and we have no bigger issues with weather. We're going to have a great crop here this year. So everybody stay tuned. We'll have more to come with Earth Optics, and we will talk soon.
This podcast is produced by Spin Market and Digital. Located in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Spin Market's highly skilled team can help you increase your market by updating your website, improving SEO, designing advertisements, and producing podcasts that will grab the attention of your market. Contact Spin Market today for all your digital marketing needs at digitalagent@spinmarket.com or call us at 515-302-8026. And to learn more, visit our website at www.spinmarket.com. That's digitalagent@spinmarket.com or 515-302-8026. Or visit our website at www.spinmarket.com.